All right, we'll turn back to our top story now. That's the U.S. government set to deny access to asylum seekers unless they have either followed the correct procedure in what's a major shift in immigration policy. Our press reviewer, Diptika Laurent, is here to take a look.
Well, Aaron, the border crackdown begins. That's what the Miami Herald says today on its front page, going with this picture here of Texas State Police who are putting up barbed wire at 11:59 p.m. this Thursday, Washington time. That so-called Title 42 border policy will expire. And as you said, migrants will be denied access to the U.S. if they haven't already registered in another country prior to arriving. Now, we had a look at the Mexican papers to see what they were saying, and there were some pretty strong headlines from the Mexican press too. This is La Jornada, a Mexican journal, which says that the world's most powerful country, the U.S., is preparing to confront the most vulnerable populations in the world. A rather accusational sort of headline with this devastating picture here of a very sad picture of a newborn baby traveling, a migrant baby traveling in what looks like to be a small suitcase there. Now, on that note, actually, the New York Times has a very nice photo video essay from Venezuelan journalist Alejandro Segara. He documented the migrant journey aboard La Bestia, the beast as it's known, that treacherous train journey that so many migrants take from Mexico to cross into the U.S. Freight trains that migrants sometimes jump on while the trains are moving. Their journey beset by, in some cases, accidental limb loss or even death after they fall off these trains, not to mention kidnappings and extortions in the lawlessness of Mexican ganglands. This having traveled after having traveled thousands of kilometers just to reach Mexico from other Central or South American countries. In this video essay, as you can see, you get a glimpse of what that journey looks like, often under the hot Mexican sun with no shade, no shelter, very little water as well. There's also this video here that's quite poignant. Here they are crossing the Rio Grande, that stretch of water that separates Mexico to the U.S. You get a very first-hand glimpse of what that journey looks like in today's New York Times, Aaron.
All right, we'll stay in the United States now, Dipti, for this next story. That's former U.S. President Donald Trump giving his first interview to mainstream U.S. news, speaking at a CNN town hall event yesterday.
That's right, that town hall event taking place in Manchester, New Hampshire. He gave this interview to CNN just hours after a New York civil court found him guilty, or found him liable, rather, of sexual assault. That town hall interview with a live studio audience with Donald Trump, in which Donald Trump, a 2024 presidential candidate, really showed no signs of having changed. That's what the Washington Post says in its reaction today. You know, he maintained that the 2020 election was rigged against him. He called the January 2021 storming of the Capitol a beautiful day. He mocked the woman who brought those sexual abuse charges against him. Trump's highly anticipated return to mainstream media, the Post says, gave us really an unvarnished view of what he's already been saying in the media, particularly the conservative media. Now, that interview itself was really slammed by this writer in Slate, who says that CNN really ignored everything that was bad about Donald Trump, calling the interview ill-conceived, a triggering flashback to the bad old days, and a frustrating preview of what we can expect over the next 18 months. This writer also accusing CNN of really pandering to Republican viewers in a bid to woo them back, really.
All right, we'll shift gears again now. In the United Kingdom, the first babies conceived not by 2, but by 3 parents were born via in vitro fertilization, and a scientific breakthrough that also raises many ethical questions.
That's right. That procedure was performed by the Newcastle Fertility Centre in the UK. It aims to help women at risk of passing on genetic conditions to their babies, such as dementia or epilepsy. It's called mitochondrial donation therapy, and it basically involved taking sperm from a father to fertilize 2 eggs, 1 egg from the mother and 1 from a donor. And then what they did was remove the genetic material of the donor's egg, the nucleus, and replace it with the fertilized material from the 2 parents. It's certainly a scientific breakthrough, as the Times of London says. There's an interesting article in the Telegraph which really does also talk about how important this is in terms of scientific advancement. But It is also, it could give us the possibility of eliminating genetic diseases in the future, but it is also, I quote, a hair's breadth away from genetic engineering, whereby we could create embryos with genetic advantages, and that is more problematic. It is also possibly why this procedure has only been approved to a small group of research facilities in the UK. Aaron.
All right, Dipti, finally from you, the usually very serious French paper Le Figaro tells us today that you can expect a major new men's trend on beaches this summer. That is the return of Speedos.
That's right. In with the Speedos, out with the long shorts or the short shorts that we've been seeing for some years now. Well, we call them budgie smugglers in Australia. It's a return inspired by men's desire to seduce and to show off their bodies, apparently. After all, a man who takes care of himself is perceived as more trustworthy. I don't know how much of that is true, but you can certainly expect to see a lot more of men this summer on the beaches, at least in Northern Europe.
I'm surprised they had to make a comeback. As an American, I always really associated Speedos with summer fashion here on European beaches, but glad they're making a comeback. Dipti Laurent with the press review. Thank you.